What's up, everybody? Welcome back to Wayward Power Sports. Check out what I got going on behind me. I'm working on this 2013 KX250F that I'm rebuilding, but I'm doing a clutch video on this to show you guys what to look for when you're tearing down your dirt bike, and if you're going to be replacing the clutch, what to look for, and how to know what you should be replacing if you're going to be doing your clutch. So let's get into it right now. All right, guys, so here is the diagram, the part diagram for the 2013 KX250F clutch, and you can see how it goes. So it starts with that clutch actuator arm, and that's going to go to the push rod, and then the ball that connects to the push rod. And we're going to go through every single one of these parts, show you what to look for, what to inspect, and what to replace. All right, so the first piece is going to be the clutch actuator arm. On the engine, it's going to sit right here on the left side of the case. Now on this clutch actuator arm, you can see right where the push rod is going to sit. It's going to sit in there just like this. And when the clutch lever is pulled, it turns it and it pushes that push rod forward. That's what's going to push the plates apart, and that's what's going to separate them. So on this, you want to make sure that there's no excessive wear on the indentation where the push rod is going to sit. Check for wear up here. There's a little bit, but it's not terrible. And that's going to be it for the actuator arm. All right, so next up is the push rod. For the push rod, you're going to check and see if there's any bending when you roll it. Just make sure it's not bent. And make sure there's no excessive wear on the push rod itself. Next up in the clutch system is going to be the steel ball that goes onto the push rod. So on this, you're going to want to inspect for any flat spots. Make sure it looks good to go. All right, guys, next up is going to be the clutch bushing and the bushing bearing. On the bushing, you're going to want to inspect for any warpage out of round, and you can even test by putting it on the shaft that it sits on and try to almost go like this with it. See if there's any play side to side, lateral and vertical movement, and this one looks good to go. On the bushing bearing, you're going to want to inspect the needles. And same thing, check for any play. There should be a little bit, but this should spin freely on the bushing. After the clutch bushing and bearing, we're going to have the clutch basket. Now this is a big one. On the basket, you're going to want to inspect the teeth that the friction and the steel clutch plates sit in. So a lot of times these friction plates will dig into the clutch teeth, and you can see the grooves right there. This one's not terribly worn, but you can even feel it with your finger. Under normal circumstances, I would put this back in, but any worse and you'd want to look into replacing it. And Wiseco makes a clutch basket. There's a ton of different brands that make aftermarket clutch baskets, or you could go OEM. But if it starts grooving into the teeth too much, these teeth could actually snap, and then you're not going to have any clutch. So far we've gone through the actuator arm, the push rod, the steel ball, the bushing bearing, the clutch basket, and now we are on the washer. So you're going to want to check for any warpage, and this one looks good. After the washer, we're going to go to the clutch hub. That's going to be the next part in the system. And similar to the clutch basket, you're going to want to check the inner grooves of the clutch hub. You can see these are grooved up a little bit. And again, under normal circumstances, I would reinstall this. But any worse, you'd want to look into replacing it. And inspect the splines. Make sure the splines are all good to go, that there's no burring or mashing of the splines. Just inspect those, and then inspect the screw holders. That's what the pressure plate's going to go over, and the springs and screws are going to go right into these. And sometimes these will actually crack and break off. So just inspect those. I've seen a lot of people replace them with JB Weld to hold these back together, but I would not do that. If you see JB Weld on them, replace it. After the clutch hub is installed, we're gonna put on our friction and steel plates. So for these, you're gonna wanna check the friction plates. Look and see if they're burnt. Check if they're warped. And for the steel plates, you can see these are burnt a little bit. Again, I'm gonna put these back in, but any worse and you should look into replacing them. You can check for warpage on the steel plates by placing them on a flat surface, and you can run a feeler gauge right underneath them. Every clutch is gonna be different when checking out the steel plates, but I'm gonna go with 2/1000, and you can inspect by going, I'd say 5 or 6 points around the steel plate and see if there's any inconsistencies with the clearances. After that, we're gonna inspect the splined washer. Same thing, check for warpage. This one looks good to go. After that, inspect the clutch hub nut. Just check the threads, make sure they look clean. Now on the pressure plate, you're gonna have the holder, and take a look down there, make sure that that ball hasn't worn into the holder too much, because if it does wear into it, you're not gonna have adequate pressure that's pushing on the pressure plate, and your clutch is not gonna disengage. After that, take a look at the pressure plate, see if you notice any cracks on the top and the sides where the springs are gonna sit in. And this one looks good as well. All right, my dudes, last step is gonna be to inspect the springs. You can measure those with a vernier caliper, digital caliper, and check and see if there's any inconsistencies in the width of them, see if they're worn, and if they need to be replaced. Other than that, check the threads on the pressure plate spring screws, and you should be good to go. And now we're gonna go through the installation process here on this 2013 KX. First, install your actuator arm. Next is the push rod. Now, easy way for that to verify that it's in all the way is I'll take something like, I have this Torx bit right here that I'll just push on the rod with. And you work the clutch actuator arm. And you can see that it's in all the way. It's tough to film on camera, but you're gonna put the bit in there or whatever you're using, and then just work that clutch actuator arm and make sure that the push rod sits in there all the way. After you've installed the push rod, install the bushing and the bushing bearing. You could even put a little bit of oil on there, 10W40, whatever, and just coat that needle bearing. After that, we're gonna put our clutch basket on. Now this has a gear on the back, so make sure it sits in all the way with that idler gear. So fit that on, twist it a little bit, and you can just see it slid on all the way. You want these surfaces to be flush. All right, guys, after that, install your washer and then your clutch hub. And this clutch hub, as you can see, is splined. So just be careful when you're installing that. And it's a little bit tough to get on, but it should go on eventually. And then install your plates. So it's gonna go friction plate. And it's usually a good idea to soak these with some oil for about 20 minutes before you install them. But these were just soaking in oil, so then it's gonna go pressure plate, steel plate, and then friction again. And so on and so forth until you finish with a friction plate on top. I also want to point out that when you finish installing the plates, there's grooves in 3 points on the friction plates. And you're going to want to make sure those all line up. And I believe the reason they do that is to allow for more oil flow and better flow throughout the plates when it's sitting in the engine like this. All right, so next you're gonna wanna install your splined washer. And then the clutch nut. Make sure you torque that down. Now you're gonna wanna install your push rod steel ball. After installing the push rod ball, now it's time for the pressure plate. And now you can install the 5 springs and screws. After tightening these bad boys down, you're gonna wanna torque them to 87 inch-pounds in a star-crossed pattern. What that'll do is make sure the plate will sit down evenly. So torque these down to 87 inch-pounds. Guys, and that's all there is to it. It's really not bad. If I can do it, you can do it. That's everything you need to know on inspecting the clutch. If I missed anything, please let me know in the comments. But yeah, that's everything you need to know as far as the clutch goes. If you guys have any questions, comments, be sure to leave them down in the comments. And if you guys want to reach me, I'll leave my contact information in the description. Other than that, guys, thanks for watching. If this video was helpful for you, please let me know. Leave a like, hit that bell notification so you never miss a video. And give me some suggestions. What can I do better? What else can I make for you guys as far as content goes? So thanks for watching, guys, and I will see you in the next video. Peace.